Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Greg, your co-host to the Grilling to Get Away podcast. Here's my buddy.
What's happening, everyone? This is Ben.
Ben, welcum back.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You know, it's a sad day.
I know. I was gonna...
Sad day. I wasn't expecting much, but I was expecting a little bit more. You know,
I didn't text you last night. I left it alone.
It was good too, man. We just you just heard, Becky hit a deer last night. I was like, well, Packers getting crushed. Wife hits a deer on the way to go get dinner. Hey, let's wrap this night up.
Yep, There we go. Yep, just go to bed and call it now.
Yeah. So Packers done for the season. Right? So we move on. That's all we can do.
Yeah,
when you perform at a high level like we do, you just gotta take your lumps and move on to the next one.
I guess. Yeah. It was funny though. I was down at the base this weekend, right? And the CO, who's in charge the whole year, I saw him. He's a huge Bears fan.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I talked to him real quick.
Yeah, he was probably loving it, huh?
Well, the game wasn't on yet, so it was in the morning, I think, on Sunday, and I asked him who he was hoping that they would get for a new head coach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ben
Johnson?
No, man. He said Cliff Kingsbury. I was like, oh.
Oh, really?
I hope for that,
yeah,
too.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah. He did really well in Arizona, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, wow, he's doing really good now. Yeah, well.
Well, one thing we can agree on is the Bears will probably mess it up regardless of who they hire.
Yeah.
I think it's institutionalized down there in the Chicago area. But now I guess we got to root for the Lions, you know what I mean?
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
I told you my 7-year-old son, he did a pick 'em. You pick the brackets.
Like the brackets?
And I'm pretty sure he's got all of them right so far.
Oh, he's
got the Lions going all the way.
Yeah.
He's got the Lions winning it too. So we'll see if that comes to fruition.
Nice.
But he put his name on it, so he stuck it out there. And
good.
Now,
man, I hope so. So I know if the Lions win, this is going out to Burn Pit Nation, that if the Lions win the Super Bowl, Greg and I will both be dyeing our hair Honolulu blue.
Oh, that's the first I'm hearing of it.
Don't you lie to me. But it's on the air, so it's got to happen now.
Yeah,
Greg,
so now it must be true.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go.
If they win, sure. I'll dye it Honolulu blue.
Yeah. All right. There you go. So
yeah.
Man, yeah. So the Lions play next Saturday against the Washington Commanders.
That's gonna be a great game.
It's gonna be a good game, man. I'm super excited.
I was hoping for a Packers Lions and be like, hey, let's take the business out there, business expense,
it's a business trip. Okay.
But now we just gotta watch the game on TV, I guess. Thanks a lot, Packers.
We can still go. Yeah, we can still go.
Oh, we could. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've been to a Lions game before. We went at the Lions-Vikings game up in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
That was 10 years ago, back in the old Metrodome.
Yeah.
Trash.
It wasn't U.S. Bank Stadium yet?
No. We were sitting way in the nosebleeds.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, terrible.
It was
straight down.
Yeah. Having a panic attack.
I was I don't know how anybody walks up the stairs. We were in good shape, and we were huffing and puffing.
Well, I'm dude, it was even just sitting there, I was like, man, I'm not a huge fan of heights, Greg.
Yeah.
This is talking about if I stand up, I'm gonna go straight down to the field. But no, man, that was a good time. We had fun time that night. But yeah, it was. We'll have to go to Ford Field sometime.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Maybe Thanksgiving next year.
Ooh.
I don't know. Next time, maybe the Packers play the Lions on Thanksgiving. I don't know. We'll see.
Business trip, Greg.
Business trip. Write it off.
You got to do it.
Yeah. But I know you're on duty down at Great Lakes serving our country over the weekend. Did you get a chance to get out and grill at all?
No, man. No, last week, I was even thinking about it this morning. Last week was such a whirlwind. We were just gone.
Man.
I think one night I grabbed a couple of rotisserie chickens for dinner.
Oh, really? Quick trip or what?
No, we had stopped at Meyer, and I was like, dude, it's already kind of late. My wife had my daughter, and they were getting stuff for the concert. She had a big concert this weekend.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was just I looked at
one thing after
Cal,
the other.
I'm hey, dude, I don't know, man. Let's just go. Let's just grab some chickens here. And He was like, all right, Dad, yeah. He crushed those legs.
I'm sure he did.
He crushed them, man. It was hilarious.
Can't go wrong with a nice rotisserie chicken.
No. Well, we had to get 2. Like, they're so small now, man. They're
really?
Yeah. I was like,
shrinkflation.
Yeah.
That's what.
When I got him home and stuff, I told my wife, I was like, well, we can just cut him in half. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I just eat half a chicken. She's like, you want me to eat half a chicken?
I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Eat what you want.
Right.
Eat what you want.
I got dinner. Yeah. I'm going to have half a chicken. You can have
half a chicken. Holesies, you know?
Yeah.
Give me the whole thing. There's pretty small.
How was it? Was it good?
Yeah, man, it was fun.
It's hard to mess those up.
Yeah.
When you're on a rotisserie.
Yeah, it was great.
Like that.
You know, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you this though, dude. I did make we from New Year's we had done some sushi and stuff, so we had some leftover imitation crab meat.
Oh, delicious.
Yep, and I made your mom's seafood pasta salad. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd asked me for that.
I did.
I
did.
I texted my mom and she's like, no, I don't
thank
have anything
God.
written down, but here it is, and she writes it all down.
I know. God bless her, because I'm texting you like, hey, you know that pasta salad your mom makes, and you're like, yeah,
I do.
Do you know the recipe?
Nope.
No. God, worthless right now. Just give me your mom's phone
number. She would have loved it if you would have called her.
I know. But yeah, so you'll have to let her know. I made that and made some modifications.
With the crab.
We did crab.
Usually, it's usually shrimp. It's from my grandpa's recipe. Yep.
Yeah, but no, followed it. I did squeeze like half a lemon in there too.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know she put paprika down. I used a little bit of smoked paprika in there.
There's a nice touch.
Yep. And then I'm trying to think. Oh, and I put some sweet peas in as well.
Sweet peas.
Yeah.
What made you do that? You had them in the freezer?
No, I picked them up for this,
Ooh.
like thinking like, okay, like it would go well in there and stuff. So, so I put some of the sweet peas in.
Yeah,
it was awesome. So
that's good.
Tell her it was fantastic. We truly appreciate that. Sending the recipe and stuff. But that was kind of where my week was last week, dude.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, man. So I was asking, Crosby is like, when was it? I think it was my birthday. My birthday was last Tuesday. I didn't even get a happy birthday from you,
What are you talking about? I texted you.
I know. I was talking about the podcast last week.
Oh, I didn't want to. Did you want me to say it on there?
I want you to say happy birthday to me.
Well, happy birthday,
Thank
man.
you. I appreciate that.
I texted you. And
sure? I know. I expect a call. Okay.
Really? Because usually I ignore my calls. I'm surprised I got a response from your text.
I'm just messing with you. But
ignore my calls, ignore my texts.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's silent mode.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Settings.
You have to tell me.
But I asked him, I was like, what should we do for dinner? He's like, let's do some burgers. So like I was like, okay, well, we had wrestling and basketball. I was like, so we saved the burgers till Saturday. So I made some nice thick
juicy Lucy's.
No juicy Lucy's, just big old patties, man. I haven't been doing smash burgers. I've just been doing the patties.
Geez, your burger press.
I sure did.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like 1.5 pounds of ground beef made like 4 patties. So they're quarter pounders.
Yeah.
And it turns out they like pressed down real nice, and I seasoned them with our savory barbecue rub.
Yep. That's great.
And that was it. That was it. And then I did indirect grilling with them, so we'll talk a little bit more about that today, which is a good segue. But I smoked them for about 20 minutes first, so with some hickory chips, and then a couple minutes over the direct coals to crisp them up a little bit, char them up, and I did some nice roasted carrots and asparagus too.
On the grill?
Not on the grill. These weren't on the grill. These were in the oven.
I love doing asparagus on the grill.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? Let's grab some of this for have some, and carrots too. Like, don't do too many roasted carrots, but I was like, let's get some of those. And
did you go with the whole
big
ones?
Yeah, big ones.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of olive oil with some ground pounder on there, man, and garlic seasoning.
I love the big ones. Like they taste so much better.
That's what she said. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like there's just a different
they take a little bit longer to cook, but
Cal crushes those.
Oh
dude.
yeah, I bet.
He wants them at his lunch all the time and stuff, and like, all right, sure.
Yeah, sure.
And we get like the mini ones.
He
doesn't eat them.
He doesn't eat those.
Yeah.
He's gotta have the big ones. Where he's like
big ones,
Bugs Bunny, where he's on it, huh?
Yeah.
Well, good
when
for
we
him.
get the little ones, he'll want us to like cook those up.
Okay.
He'll eat those.
Those are cooked.
Yeah.
But then the
big
other ones are raw.
Yep.
Just gotta grab it.
Just
and gnaw.
Just sit there.
Yeah.
So, like a little beaver over here. Look at you.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a big thing. Was that got the burgers out. You know, it was a cold night, snowing out a little bit, so I'm glad I got out there and did it. You know, just something about, you know, grilling when it's snowing. You know what I mean? You know, busted out the Weber, and did indirect grilling for those, and then direct grilling. But I wanted to talk to you today about that. Like, I've been seeing a lot of people getting more into charcoal grilling, and you know, there's maybe the thought out there that you can't do it like a lot of smoking or low and slow on the Weber kettle or a charcoal or even like a propane, you know, gas grill. So, you know, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about like how you set your grills up for indirect grilling, direct grilling, what's the difference, that kind of stuff. So if anybody's out there just new to the podcast or new to grilling in general, like, or even like, you know, maybe are wondering a little bit more about like what that process looks like. So how would you describe direct grilling versus indirect grilling?
So your indirect and stuff is you're kind of separating your grill into basically kind of your zones, right?
Right.
So you're almost cutting it in half, and you're putting your kind of your coals. Let's say, you know, if you're looking straight down at your grills, you're putting your coals all the way on like the right side of the grill, and then you're putting your proteins or whatever you're cooking on like kind of more like that left side. Right. So it creates kind of more of like that oven effect where you're cooking the meat kind of all the way around.
Sure.
And stuff, rather than with the direct grilling and stuff, you got your coals kind of laid out and stuff right there. It doesn't have to take up the whole grill. I kind of, even for a lot of my, you know, direct grilling, I'm still kind of putting it on like one side almost and spreading it out a little bit, but then putting the meat like right over it, right on top of it.
Yeah. I mean, same here. Like, cause you know, you and I, like when we grill for the families and stuff, a lot of times it's not like we're not taking up the whole grill for what we're cooking. So
yeah.
Like I like to set it up for like a 2-zone fire too, like you were saying, like, so all my coals are kind of, you know, even on one side, and then I have a cool spot on the opposite side. So that, you know, that's the basic, I guess you could say, definition is like one side's hot, one side's, you know, not for indirect, you know what I mean? So, and you could do the same for propane. Like if you've got a gas grill, you know, like a 3-burner or something like that, you know, you turn one on and you leave 2 off depending on what you're cooking, or you turn 2 on, you leave 1 off, and you can do some, you know, smoking or indirect grilling that way.
Yeah. I've been reading about like a lot of the gas stuff too, man, and it's exactly what you're saying. Like you just turn one burner on. It depends on, you know, how low and slow you want to go, I guess, and how much fuel you have.
Right. Yeah.
You know, how much time you've got.
Make sure you got plenty of propane or fuel in there.
But yeah, same thing. And it's funny too. Like you can, like you said too, you can still smoke stuff on your propane. You know, like I've talked to. I remember like a few events ago, I was talking to a guy, and he was like, yeah, I've got a bunch of grills, and he was telling me all about them and stuff. And he's like, I love just cooking on my gas grill just because it's easy, it's fast. And he's like, but my wife doesn't like it because you don't get the smoke, you know, you don't get that like.
You definitely could tell the difference between like a charcoal and, you know, a propane one. And even like when you're smoking, you can tell between like a pellet charcoal and even like a stick burner. I think that's one thing we've noticed at our competition that we do every year is that, you know, the ones that tend to use charcoal or wood, their flavor tends to stand out a little bit more.
Yeah. So, I mean, you definitely can though. Like you.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you're not cooking for a competition and you're like, you know, you are trying, you know, just to keep it simple, definitely use, you know, what you got. You know, we don't discriminate here, but you know, you and I prefer, or at least I prefer, kind of more charcoal in our Weber kettles because you can do a lot on it.
Yeah, and it's funny too, like you said, there's so much you can do on it, and like people are always like, well, you can't really smoke, you can't do this on there. Yeah, you can.
Gotten some nice long cooks out
absolutely,
of that. Yeah.
And even like, you know, big cuts of meat too, right? Like everyone's like, well, you can't do those on a Weber. Like, no, sure you can.
Yeah.
Sure you can.
Let me show you.
Yeah.
So like, okay, so if you're doing like a pork roast or something like that, like shredded pork, how are you setting up your grill?
Same thing, man. You know, I'm throwing it off to the one side, and I've got my, you know, the meat on the other side. And typically I'm kind of turning my lid to where my temp gauge is, where like kind of right over the spot where I want to have the meat at.
So you mean the temp? So the air vent or the temp gauge?
The temp gauge, because I want to see kind of where.
So if you got if you got a lid or whatever with the thermometer on it, you're going right over the meat. Okay, so you know what the temperature is on that side where the meat is. Okay. And then like we talked about a little bit already, kind of one way of indirect grilling, which is, you put all the coals to one side. Now, what about like the snake method? Would you do something like that for, let's say, like a pork shoulder or something like that?
Sure.
Okay. Now,
I think I've only, man, I did the snake method like quite a few times last summer. It was really kind of
playing around with it.
Yeah, and you were seeing a ton of people doing it. It seemed like, you had kind of heard of the snake method before and stuff, but like I feel like last summer, man, for whatever, like just picture after picture after picture, and a lot of people asking questions about it and stuff. I know we talked about it in an episode as well, but it's I mean, it's a very just like nice, easy controlled. As long as like the biggest thing is having your bricks like stacked correctly.
Yeah. So are you like two on the bottom, one on the top?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even just kind of two on the bottom. Like I've done it where I just do two. It kind of depends on what you're cooking and stuff like that. I think I was doing like
what temp you're looking for.
Yeah. I was doing like some chicken or something like that too, just to kind of play and see, because it's it's not always like super easy, right? Like I've had it too where I didn't stack them like quite well enough, and it's like it kind of hit that stall where like it didn't transfer in one spot.
Sure.
So it's a huge learning curve and stuff. So that's kind of why I wanted to do it with something easy that wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
That I knew if like, all right, well, if I were to have like an issue or something like that, I could easily just kind of start it and, get the chicken rolling again or something. But, I'm trying to think I think we did do it with I want to say I did it with a pork shoulder. Mm-hmm. It's either pork shoulder or a ham.
So let's how would you set it up? So like, let's talk, maybe some ways like.
Do you consider, I wanted to ask you this too.
Yeah.
I knew we were going to talk about indirect grilling today, but do you consider the snake method a version of indirect grilling?
I do, because you got the coals set up on the outside,
right,
and then you got the meat in the middle, so it's not directly over the coals. So I would consider that indirect.
Yeah, and so like that's kind of what I wanted to ask and stuff. Like I do the same thing about like, so when I do the snake method, I'm going about at least half, if not like 3/4 of the way around.
Yeah, I guess it depends again,
like what
you're doing, and then like what temperature you're looking for, as well as how long you want to let it go. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely done that too. Where I think the lowest I've ever done is maybe like a half.
Yeah.
And if I need to go a little bit longer, then like it's getting down to like the last of the coals, then I'll pour some more in there. But it keeps temp pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially on the kettle there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially with the kettle, it does. So then that's where like if I do it kind of like that 3/4 of the way around, I've got the meat in that other quarter section where it's not like there's so I would definitely consider it a form of indirect.
Yes, and then like with indirect, do you like to put pans underneath? So like sometimes like I'll put the coals to one side if I'm doing like a long cook or whatever. I'll set the coals to one side. Maybe I'll put a pan underneath the grate to catch drippings or whatever.
Sure.
Keep it moist. Do you do that sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, I'll play and stuff and I'll put different things in there. I used to do this when I would do ham, man, and I would put like this whole like concoction of like stuff underneath it, and I don't know if it ever did anything or not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I
would sometimes pour, like if I was doing a ham or something, I'd sometimes pour like a citrusy beer,
or
like
an apple juice or some apple cider vinegar and stuff. Dude, I would do like I would put this whole thing in underneath it, like it'd be like kind of some water, some apple juice, apple cider vinegar, some applesauce, brown sugar, some mustard, and stir it all up. I'm gonna be honest, dude. I don't know if that. I didn't think I needed to do all that. I was just be like, hey, let's try this out.
There's only one way to find out is you gotta do like a test to see like what you prefer better. Is it with all that stuff or not? Because that's the ultimate test.
Yeah. I've done it too, man, where like I've done like like a Doc soda or like a Dr. Pepper in there underneath it and stuff, and that it ends up just kind of burning, like because I didn't put like too much down in there and stuff, right? So it just like would burn and just but I had to do like more water than what I did.
Now, like let's say you're doing the snake method, so you're setting up two on the bottom, like 3/4 of the way around. Then you got like one coal on top, so it's almost like a little pyramid going all the way around, right? So it's snakes around. Are you using chunks, using chips, like for the smoking part? Are you using anything at all?
Yeah. I mean, I've done both. I've done it where because we've gotten the Jack Daniel's chips before, and so I've kind of sprinkled those throughout.
I do like those. They're like a nice light kind of smoke.
Yeah, real light and stuff. It's not overpowering like whatsoever. It's not a real dark, heavy, thick smoke or anything. But yeah, I've done like the chunks too. Like,
do you think it has like a flavor profile?
I don't, man.
I was gonna say that. I was like, I don't like. I can't really put my finger on like what a Jack Daniel's wood chips, but it adds a little bit of smokiness to it.
Yeah.
But like a distinctive, like if you're gonna say like pecan or hickory, like they have distinctive flavors. I don't know if like the Jack Daniel's does.
Like when you grab them, you smell them. Like I don't know
Yeah.
if there's any whiskey to it or anything
Yeah,
like that.
no.
You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
or bourbon, like I don't pick up that hint on there personally. That's me.
I do like to use them though.
I love
Like,
them.
just
Yeah,
toss
they're
them
great.
on,
Yeah.
you know? Got a bag of them.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. Like do you remember like you had a buddy too that cut up that the wine?
He had wine barrels.
Yeah, I used that once.
I have used those too.
I still have them.
I still have a bunch.
And I used them when I did like a cold smoked cheese, and I used that.
Yeah, that's a good plan. That's
Yeah.
a good idea
Yeah.
because of the wine infused barrels.
That's what I thought, man.
Cheese.
See, sometimes.
Look at how sophisticated you are. Huh?
Yeah,
It's the palate.
So cultured.
Yeah, it's so cultured. Yeah.
Oh, it's the red, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a red. It's not purple. It's red.
Yeah. So, but no, man. So, yeah, if I'm doing like a pork shoulder or something like that, using the snake method, I do like to use the chunks, and like we talked about too, like I'll throw in like something like an apple or like even like a cherry. I'll just kind of put a chunk kind of throughout. So it's like every 3 to 4, I'll put like a chunk or so. I usually max it out about 3.
Sure. Yeah.
You know.
And there's some like a lot of like I guess you could say tests out there. I don't know if they're official tests, but a lot of people think like whatever you're cooking doesn't pick up any smoke after like the first hour. So I know a lot of people won't eat like they load it pretty heavy up front, but then they don't put any towards the back end.
Man, so I told you I got that book, right?
Which one is this one?
This is like that kind of like the science behind it.
Yeah.
Dude, so I read this chapter recently, and he talks about how pairing your wood chips and chunks to what you're cooking doesn't make a difference.
Really?
It's your flavor profile that you like. So it's like just use what you like.
Yeah, use what you like. I get that.
But yeah, it's like if using like a sweeter wood, like it doesn't make a difference. Like
I guess I would disagree with that. Like
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but then so to go into what you're saying too, he was saying is like, so, cause he talks about cooking food and it's like, if more smoke will stick when it's wet. So that's why you have to be careful not to like if you're spritzing, you don't want to over spritz it. Cause then that's when
that's going to pick it up.
You're going to pick it up and it's going to get like kind of like that sour taste. Like I've talked to you about.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten that before too, whereas obviously then that tells me like, oh yeah, I just sprayed the hell out of it. And like it's all wet. So it's like if you're gonna spritz, that's fine. But like when you're spritzing throughout and like kind of using like that snake method, right? Like you can still spritz and it's still gonna pick up more smoke as you cook and stuff. So I thought that was interesting to me.
Now, if are you using chip, like when you're using chips, like I like to load it up, man. So if I'm using chips, like I'll grab handfuls and I'll just put them all along. Again, like I've seen some where like it's literally like you can't see the charcoal because they got so many chips in there.
Really?
That's a lot for me.
Yeah.
Like I kind of go off our best friend Steven Reichlin's kind of like I'll take like a handful per kind of what I would estimate every hour would be like a handful of chips.
Just drop them.
Yeah.
How many are you doing? Like 4?
Yeah, maybe
4?
3 to 4.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I guess, going back to that point of, it doesn't matter what, flavor you use or whatever. I think certain cuts tend to turn out better with certain types of wood.
And that's what he was saying. Like, he's like, honestly, it's your palate. Like you decide like what you like and use what works. But the type of wood, like it doesn't make the meat taste any like different or something like that. I'll write it down and I'll bring the book like next week and we'll dive into that a little bit.
I think that'd be a good thing to kind of talk about. Like pairings.
I'll take some pics and send it to you so you can read it too, or like drop it off or something, and you can tell me what you think. But I was like, man, dude, it's crazy. This book it's blowing my mind. To be honest, like
you learn a lot, huh?
Yeah, and just like
never stop learning.
Yeah, and it's. I question a lot of it just because too it's like so much that we've heard or talked about for all these years and stuff, and like now it's just like you're seeing like the science behind it, and like it's not like he's trying to be like an ass about it or tell you like no, you're wrong. It's like this is what we did, this is how we tested this, and this is what we got the results.
I can see that. I mean, I appreciate that. Like,
Yeah, right.
You know, you want to see the data,
Yeah.
right, behind it. Like it's a science and an art. So I guess I appreciate that in-depth look at it.
Yeah.
But, you know, ultimately, I guess I agree with it. Like, whatever you're cooking, it comes down to your palate. You know, there's no, I guess there is no right or wrong way. And like we always see, like, oh, you got to put, you know, there's no beans in chili or like, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess like I kind of agree with like, it's up to your palate and what you enjoy. Doesn't really matter what other people say.
Yeah. Well, it's even too, man. Like you said, like I always go back to like when we're out at events and we talk to people, right? And like, I can't tell you the amount of people that tell me that they put our, you know, Fire for Effect, our sweet heat rub on a brisket. And that baffles me. I'm just like, that's so weird. That's cool.
Like, I guess, yeah, because I've tried it on some beef recently too because I wanted like it's not typically my first go-to for that.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It's not bad. It's not,
I love when people say it too. Oh, that's not bad.
It's not bad.
That's not bad. Oh, that's what we say too. Thanks.
Yeah. Like our Fish and Wild Game seasoning, people like to put it on other things as well. Like we hear it all the time. So also, you know, great on chicken or whatever, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, again, it's up to whatever your personal preference is and your palate. Everybody's got their own one. So we don't judge here. You know, we make recommendations if you're just getting started, right? So,
but I like that. I love to hear that stuff too. Like, okay, and that's kind of why like the book like makes sense to me. Like, you know, I don't really lean in too much on, I don't know, some other ones. You know, like I feel like I stick to like the pecan, the hickory, the apple, the cherry. Like, I mean, even like the Jack Daniel's ones, but I don't use those all the time. You know, it's like I don't know. This is what I've used. This is what I like to use. Like, and that's what I find myself using the majority of the time. Like, I don't really waver too much in that. And that's, you know, maybe I should.
Right.
I like try some things out, and I think that's kind of like the fun part about it, right? Like, you know, and we've talked, like, there's some other ones that you and I have talked, like, we want to try, like, peach or something, dude. Like, that'd be cool to get.
Sure.
You know? But it's hard to get here in Wisconsin.
Sure is, yeah.
You know, some peach wood to test on some stuff. Yeah.
See if we can get some shipped.
Yeah.
Or take a trip down there.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. cut a peach tree down ourselves. You know? But yeah, man, it's, and like, I was, you know, we're kind of getting off the topic a bit more, but like the other book that I have is from Aaron Franklin, and he kind of talks about like the wood that he uses, and he's using like obviously giant offsets, and so it's very different.
He's very big on post oak, right?
Yeah, he uses a lot of oak and stuff, and like but he even talks too about like how like the feel of it and how it needs to be like green and stuff. That. And, he's like, man, like, you know, it was, I was reading this one part too, and he was talking about doing he was cooking for like a bunch of people, and like they gave him like the wood, and he's like, dude, this wood was just dry as hell. He's like, this is gonna be bad, and he goes into like kind of why, you know, why I didn't want to use this wood and how I could tell and all that stuff. So yeah, it's just like you kind of obviously you pick up and learn.
Yeah, you learn as you go.
So, yeah. But so yeah, man. I mean, that's sorry, I got off on a tangent there for you,
but I want to talk to you. So if we bring it back to like another reason, like it's good to maybe set up like a 2-zone fire or something like that. Even if you're just doing direct grilling, like, so like if my burgers the other day, like, let's say I get a flare up, like you were talking about, like with your your smash burgers you're doing, like you get a flare up, you can move those over to like the
cool side.
Yeah, the cool side, get them off of the coals, so kind of let that die down a little bit.
Yep.
And like if you're cooking multiple pieces of meat or whatever, you know, multiple steaks or multiple, you know, burgers, you know, one might get done faster than the other, so you can pull it off and
like
put it
wings.
to the cool side. Yeah, wings. And it's just I think it's a nice method for any type of grill or smoker that you got, is always have kind of your hot side, your cool side, so you can make sure that you're playing with whatever, you know, you're cooking. You have lots of options. So another tip for you there if you're just starting out, man. Yeah, because a lot of times, like even when I was first starting out, I'd be like, okay, I just got to dump this thing
out. Yeah.
And then even it out, right? Even it out. So like I have an even, you know, and theoretically that sounds right. Like I have an even cooking surface just like a stove, right? But when you're cooking over fire, it's probably a good idea to have a cool spot where you can move something so it doesn't get burned or charred, right? Otherwise, you're just stuck with like it's all the same heat.
Yeah, and it's not like that's the case too. Like it's not all the same heat because like think about like when we start like our chimney, right? Like you have your ones in the bottom that are gonna be like a lot further along in the process than the ones on the top, right? So it's just like you're still, even when you put it all across like the bottom, like you're still gonna have like kind of weird zones.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna have like cooler spots rather than, you know, than like then some are just gonna be like blazing, right? So it's like, it's just that's like the fun part about learning.
Now, do you do like I do a lot of 2 zones, like one side's hot, one time the kind of cooler side, right? So it's kind of split down the middle sometimes. Now in our best friend Steven Reichland's How to Grill book, he does like a 3-zone fire.
Yeah.
Do you do that often?
I guess like because I'm not filling my chimney up, right? So it's like really, I'm almost kind of splitting into like thirds, kind of like you said, like 3-zone, right? So it's like, you know, I got my coals like all the way over like to the side here, and then my food, whatever I'm cooking, you know, for smoking or just kind of like the nice slow process, like. You know, I'm putting on the complete opposite side, so you got like a whole middle section that's just kind of wide open. So yeah, I do that a lot, especially like with chicken, or like meal prep or whatever. You know, smaller cuts of meat and stuff. I'm just throwing it on the complete opposite side, letting the smoke kind of roll, and just leaving it down over there. You don't have to flip them. You know, it's gonna stay on that opposite side. And like you said too, you can bring them over, put them over the fire and kind of crisp it up a little bit. But you don't have to.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also multiple ways to do that, right? So like, you can like we've talked about really just kind of on one side, like so you divide it in half. I've got some baskets where like you can put it on both sides, so you got like almost like the space in the middle is open, but
which is great for like beer can chicken or something like that, right?
Chicken.
Like and you're getting that same amount of heat kind of like coming radiating from both sides, like right in the middle. And I don't have those baskets,
and you don't need
like,
them.
No.
You can definitely like I've seen people use bricks where they just put it in there as a divider.
Oh, nice.
On both sides. So you got it's still indirect grilling. You still got like 2. Well, essentially you got 3 zones, but 2 are the same.
Yeah. Heat kind of on the outsides.
Heat on the outside. The meat's in the middle. Like with the snake method, it's kind of like, you know, it goes around. So it's like a slow build around it. So you don't have to rotate the meat or anything like that. But like the indirect, where you have it on both sides and the meat in the middle, like you got to kind of watch, you know, because one side could be hotter than the other. So you might need to rotate your meat a little bit or whatever you're cooking in the middle. Like if I'm doing a beer can chicken, I just want to make sure like if one side's getting browner than the other, maybe I rotate it to like, so all sides kind of get an equal amount of heat there.
Yeah. Have you ever done it, man, where you, like when you're doing the snake method and stuff, you're typically lighting about like 6 coals, give or take.
Yeah.
6, and, you know, just kind of dropping. I usually go like kind of around 4 to 6.
Okay.
And then, you know, I get those rolling and then I drop them in and up against like kind of to, you know, the beginning, like the head of the snake.
Right.
To
So
get
start
it rolling.
the chain. Yeah.
Have you ever done it too, where you put it all the way around the grill and then like, you're putting it so then it kind of starts on like both sides and then creeps around?
I haven't.
I've never done that either.
Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. And that's why I wonder.
I would think like
that's almost kind of like exactly like what you're talking about right now with like having it like that 3 zones, right? Like
I think that would be like that. I'd worry about the heat though, being too hot.
Yeah. Because you're like doubling down.
Yeah. Because like if I'm doing both sides, like on both sides in my baskets, and Weber's like I've got the grate where the sides flip up, specifically for that reason. And I think that like once you get it started, like with 12 coals on each side, that's kind of what is typical. Every hour you got to go in and add like an additional like anywhere from 5 to 6 on each side. So to keep it rolling, if you're going for a long cook. I think if you're doing a snake method and you're putting out like you're lighting both ends of the snake and so it kind of goes around. I think it'd be similar, but I'd be worried about maybe that's something we have to test out. Yeah. I haven't seen too many people do it.
I haven't either. That's kind of why I think you're right though. It probably would get too hot and stuff, and
it all depends.
Yeah.
Like as if I'm going low and slow, I'm looking for like a 250, 225. Yeah. And I think if you're lighting those 4 or 5 and then just it's slowly catching on to the next ones, like I think you'd be in like that 6 to 10 range of coals, like active coals that are hot enough to heat it up in there.
Yeah, if I did that, I'd probably only do like 2. I wouldn't go 3.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that'd be interesting to test out.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it. Like, I haven't seen people light both ends, and maybe that's just because I haven't seen it. I don't know. Maybe someone's tried it out. If let us know.
Yeah. So when you're doing, you got your baskets, right?
Right.
Are you using the minion method for that? Like where you're kind of heating up your thing and you're just kind of pouring some on top and then letting it slowly, kind of creep down?
Yeah.
Are you more or less like, are you just kind of doing your chimney and you're pouring it out on your side?
Yeah, it's been a while, so I'm usually just doing my chimney. So I'll do like half and half.
Right.
I'll try and like, obviously I'm not doing all the top coals on one side.
Right.
I'm like, going back and forth, even out the coals. But typically like what I've done is just, every hour when I'm going out there and checking on it, like I'll put more coals on top because I got the baskets and then I got the grate that flips up. And then same thing with the wood chips too. Like rule of thumb is like every hour, 45 minutes to an hour, go and add another handful of chips in there if you're using chips. So like every hour I go out and check. If I need more coals, I'll put a couple more in there, put a handful of chips in there and let it go for another hour. And then come out and check. That's basically how I started doing like indirect grilling. And I basically just took that out of Stephen Reichlin's How to Grill book.
Yeah.
That's how he explains it. But now, since we've been doing this for a long time, there's a lot of different methods out there that you can definitely use to do direct and indirect grilling on the Weber. Or you can certainly do that on like a propane as well.
Would you use kind of like the snake method ever on your vertical smoker?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I think I have had really good cooks with the minion method, like the water smokers that we have. Like if I'm doing something, man, like I'll fill up my chimney and I'll dump out like a whole chimney full of unlit coals, and then I'll do maybe less than a quarter of a chimney, light that, let it go for a while, and then I'll dump those on top, so it kind of spreads out. That's the minion method. I don't do that with obviously the kettle. That's just with the vertical.
Yep.
But I've had nice, easy, but like with that one, like I'm not going in, I'm not adding anything unless like it's a long cook and whatever I'm cooking, like just not getting up to temp. I'll throw like hand chips or handfuls of wood chips all throughout. So as the coals catch, then some of the wood chips will catch as well. So there's a nice even smoke throughout. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the methods I like too. That's another indirect way of grilling, smoking, using the vertical.
Yeah. I mean, the indirect is great. It's, when you're doing like big cuts of meat. It doesn't have to be like big cuts of meat. Like I said, I use that for chicken all the time.
Chicken, ribs, a couple racks of ribs or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Even like kind of like the party ribs and stuff. I like wings.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Like I love just, throwing the wings on and letting them smoke for a while. Like
that's one method we didn't talk, like indirect. So we've talked about the snake on the outside. We've talked about, the baskets on both sides, but like the vortex, that's like another way of indirect. And like when you're talking about the party ribs, that kind of is what triggered that for me, because I see a lot of people with the vortex where it's just a big cone in the middle. So you put the coals underneath the cone in there. You don't need a cone. I literally just piled up, coals in the middle of whatever. If you got like a grate, like some of the new Weber grates have like the attachment where you can take the middle out. That's awesome. I don't have one.
I don't have it either. So it's
a little challenging because then like once I set it, man, unless I'm taking this top grate off, like you're letting it go. So like for me, I have to watch it a little bit more, so I don't burn those ribs or wings. Like you could do wings with that as well, with that vortex style. Like so, it's like basically like a mound of coals in the middle.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I don't have that. I don't have a vortex. I don't have like that special like that grate that you can do that with either. So it's like I think honestly too, like that's a huge reason why I do the indirect like off to the side like that, because I've got the same grade as you do, where you can flip up that side and you can add more coals, or you can add some chips or chunks or whatever you're doing. I think probably, man, that's probably why I do it the most, just because the ease of doing it.
Of it, yeah.
Like that's what my grill allows me to do, and that's why I use it that way. So
make do with what you got.
Absolutely, and I'm perfectly happy with that.
Sure.
And I don't know if I had like. I think too, like that's a huge reason why I don't like putting it like in the middle, because then I can't get to the wood chips or move it around easy, and I don't want to like if I have meat on top of the grill, I don't want on the grates. I don't want to pull that off. Like it's just a hassle. And
and you can buy you can go and buy one of these grates off of Weber, the Weber website or whatever. Like I think we're not there yet because we don't use it we don't use it that way as often as maybe some other folks do it. Like my baskets that I have for like the outsides, like you can put those in the middle together and they kind of create like a little octagon. Yeah. I've seen people use bricks. Like they use like just stack some bricks and then like they put the coals in the middle.
Heck yeah.
So it doesn't like spill over anywhere. You know what I mean? Sure. So you can get creative with it. You don't have to buy all this stuff. Like we just see like the vortexes was like a huge thing where people are buying those cones. They're not expensive, but like you don't need to go buy one.
Nah, what are they about? $20?
I don't know. I haven't looked.
I don't think.
But good, man. Like I think that was a good, solid like overview of what direct, indirect, how we use it, especially on our charcoal grills and things like that. Any last minute tips or anything that you would add, like when you're thinking about doing maybe you're like somebody's doing this for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I had a buddy. He reached out. I think it was like kind of over the summer. His girlfriend had bought a new grill. And she got a gas grill, and he was putting it together. And I was like, and he was like, I'm gonna cook steaks on this. I'm gonna go over and put it together and cook steaks on it tonight. I was like, well, I would get like kind of really hot, kind of go through like the burning process, right? Like get all the stuff, the factory,
the manufactured stuff off,
burn it off a bit, and then like kind of figure out like where like your zones are. And that's exactly what I was like, you're going to want to see like, it was a gas one. I was like, you're going to want to see like kind of your hot spots and, where your cool spots are and stuff. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. That's good to know. I would say that like, I remember the first, when I got my grills and stuff, like I didn't cook anything. I just threw it
right away. Yeah.
Just, because to burn all the stuff off and season the grates and whatever. And, like you can there's a lot you can learn about the grill, right? And like a lot depends too, like how you adjust your vents, where your vents are, how like are they wide open, are you closing them all the way? Like that obviously affects like the oxygen flow in there, and then that's going to determine like the heat and stuff. So there's like a lot, man. Like there's a lot you can do and play and learn, and like I've had my grill for over 10, almost 11 years now, and there's still times where I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
We just talked about it, a couple episodes ago.
So it's like, I wouldn't say it's ever like perfect, it has its days where it's just like the grill's gonna decide it's gonna do what it wants
sometimes,
to do, right? But the more that like obviously you use it, the more comfortable and confident you're gonna get, and you're gonna have these awesome cooks. You really are, and then you're gonna have someone that is just god awful, and it just is what it is. So hopefully you get to the point where you don't have those as often. And
hopefully it's less and less as you go on. But I think that's a great tip, is like first getting to understand your grill. I mean, I've even talked to people with like pellet smokers where they know that they have like a cold spot somewhere. So like when they're cooking something, like they take that into consideration. So understanding, like obviously using coals is a little different because you move them around, but just understanding how like the airflow works with whatever grill you got, plus making sure like you understand a little bit more how to use it and adjust on the fly, because a lot of when you first start, man, you're going to be adjusting. Like you're going to like, oh man, it's not getting up to temp. I told everybody I'm going to be eating here at like 6 o'clock.
It's still got 3 hours.
So like you got to just get out there, play around with it. Do some low intensity, like nothing like high stake, grilling right away, so you understand like a little bit more how to use it.
And again, like there's so many methods that you can use that are out there and stuff. We went over quite a few of them today, but like indirect grilling is a great way to kind of get to know the grill and get to start off. I think like if I go back, I think I'd start off with that rather than kind of like what we talked about too, man. Just filling up a full chimney and dumping it out and like, here we go. Right. So, I'd probably start off with like half a chimney and put that on the one side and let it ride and just kind of see what happens.
And like if you're doing indirect grilling or the snake method, I've found as well, even with the minion method, if you get to the end of that cook and your meat's done, like, and you still got a bunch of coals left over, shut the vents down so you can save that. That's like another tip we didn't really learn until a little bit afterwards. Like you don't have to let the coals burn all the way down. You can save some of those. Charcoal's getting expensive.
It sure is. And like, I mean, then when you go to reuse those coals, like the next time, you're not going to get the most, like the cleanest cook on that. Like, and that's just kind of expected. But like, I still tastes good to me, man.
Sure does, man.
You know, we're not cooking for a competition every damn week. We're in the backyard cooking for family and stuff.
That's right.
You know, so I think if I'm not doing like, you know, Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving, you know, I'm gonna reuse those coals. Like
for sure.
Yeah. So just know that it's not like the cleanest, but I mean, do you tell it tastes fine to me, man.
Sure.
You know,
it sure does. Yeah.
So and I know my pocketbook's a lot happier too. Like
that's right.
Burning down a whole, you know, quarter of a bag of charcoal every single
nothing,
time you
yeah.
use it. Like, you know, you're doing burgers going hot and fast.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, no, now what?
Right.
Let these coals go. Like,
yeah. So like if you're just like, again, like when we do cook for ourselves and our families, like we're not filling a whole chimney up with coals. Like when I did the burgers the other day, I was like, maybe I hit half a chimney. Yeah. Because I know as soon as I put those burgers on, like I did let them like smoke for a little bit, but I knew as soon as I was going to char them up, like then I'd be done. Like it'd be a few minutes per side.
Yeah.
I don't want to like waste all this charcoal on
man,
it. So,
I get so upset about that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so stupid. I get so mad. I'm just like, man, I just sit and I'll like, look at all those. Look at it.
Look at them just staring at me. All right, man. Well, that's a good episode, man. Let's pick a winner for our weekly giveaway. Again, if you want to be included in these giveaways, go over to burnpitbbq.com. We're giving away some products each month or each week for those who stay subscribed to our newsletter. We do a weekly newsletter where we do recipes, tips, and things like that. So you got to be subscribed to our newsletter.
Yeah, this month is we're in January here.
We are in January 2025.
We're doing our all-purpose.
All-purpose
one. Our all-ration. And we decided, like, hey, this is a good one to use. It's pretty versatile. It's not spicy, so it's one you can use. You can test out. You can do everything from, you know, if you're smoking like cream cheese, put some on there. Again, I use it on burgers a lot. Put it on chicken. It's kind of your typical all-purpose. So you don't have to just use it on the grill either, which is makes it convenient. I've been putting on my eggs a little bit lately, Greg.
Really?
Yeah. I just a little bit of a sweeter profile to it.
Versatile,
so I've been using it a lot. Like I put it on popcorn too. Kids.
It is good. Yeah, good on popcorn. It does have just a little bit of sweetness to it.
Yeah, great with vegetables. I love it with vegetables. I a lot of times too, I'll use it alongside our ground pounder, our all-purpose garlic seasoning.
Okay.
So kind of combine those two as well.
Nice. Nice, man. All right. Well, let's pick one here. So I'm looking here. I don't have a last name here, but Paul.
Congrats, Paul.
Congrats, Paul. We'll reach out to you, email here. And he's been with us since August. So that's awesome. Appreciate that, Paul. Appreciate you being subscribed to the newsletter. Again, head over to burnpitbbq.com. Enter in to win by just subscribing to our newsletter. There's multiple ways you can do that on the website. You can scroll all the way down to the bottom. Just enter your email address. We don't sell or spam. You can opt out at any time, but if you want to be included in the giveaways, you got to stay subscribed. We're putting these out on YouTube as well, so if you're listening to the podcast, go out, subscribe to our YouTube, Burn Pit BBQ. We appreciate that. And other than that, what else we got? Anything else last minute?
Let's see, man. Yeah, we're gonna be out and about this month a little bit.
Starting to get out 2025.
Yep, 2025. We'll be down in Illinois.
Ooh,
coming up.
We're gonna be out in Schaumburg
at the Fishing Expo. Chicagoland Fishing Expo down there.
That's awesome.
So we'll be out there. I think it's
it's coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
The 23rd through the 26th of January, 2025, down in Schaumburg,
Illinois. So we'll be down there.
Yep. Come see us
at the Fishing Expo. So it should be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to ask on the air too, man. It was your birthday last week, so the happiest of birthdays to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Getting further into the 40s.
Yeah, 41.
How did you celebrate? How many sweets did you have on this day?
That's a good question. How many sweets did I have? What did we have?
How many donuts did you have? Cupcakes,
donuts. I'm trying to think. It's been almost a whole week, Ben. So it was a long time ago. I don't remember. But we're in birthday season, so it's a lot of sweets. So Owen works at Culver's,
Did you go and pick up did you get a free?
You get a free scoop. So he brought me.
Birthday?
He was working, so he brought me home one. So I got that.
What did you have?
It was like a butter pecan.
Ooh, oh man, God,
crushed it right away. I said I didn't want anything, but I'll take it.
Oh, okay, twist my arm.
Yeah. So I had that, and then
did you go to O&H?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So O&H is a nice bakery down the road here. I'm a member because usually after church we go get some donuts, and they have really good donuts and Kringles if you're not familiar, world famous Kringles. But because I subscribe,
I'm a member. I can't stand you
because I'm a member.
Yeah. You walk. You're one of those that walks in like, oh, Greg, the usual,
the usual.
You know it.
Yeah, I don't deviate too much from my
you sure don't,
stuffed vanilla Long Johns. So. But no, you get 2 free cupcakes on your birthday.
Two? Like, you get 2 cupcakes.
They gave you
birthday.
2.
My God,
yeah, they know their clients really well. So I got 2 cupcakes from them. Ate those bad boys up.
You didn't bring those home for the boys. Those didn't even make it out of the parking lot, did they?
So Becky picked them up. So
okay.
She got them for me. But
she pick them out, or you like?
She picked them out.
These ones. Yeah. Get these ones.
Well, she kind of knows what I like, so she grabbed 2 of them. One had blue frosting, so I'm sure I blew all over my teeth. I made sure to eat that one by myself.
Yeah, okay.
But I had some cupcakes, had some Culver's custard, and then I'm trying to think. She bought me a cookie too, from
oh my God,
from Pick and Save. They got the Cookie Monster ones. It's like they got the chocolate chip cookie is with just a mound of frosting in the middle. So I had that bad boy. That's awesome. I couldn't eat all that all at once, so I had to, maybe have half of it.
Oh, yeah. After you wash it down.
Heaven forbid.
The cupcakes.
Yeah. But that was good. It was good. Yeah.
Solid day, man.
But it's birthday month, so Everett's birthday was the other day. You had some cake for that one. Becky's is coming up in a few weeks, and then the other 2 boys are in February. So we're just in this stretch of birthdays.
You're just crushing it left and
birthday
right.
dinners, birthday desserts.
Shoot.
Not complaining. Okay.
Yeah. Good, man.
But, all right, man. Well, let's wrap that one up. Again, we appreciate everybody listening. Thanks for subscribing to the newsletter, watching the podcast on YouTube, and listening wherever you get the podcast at. But if you could share it, we'd appreciate it. Help us continue to spread the word about the podcast and the business and things like that. But other than that, hopefully you get a chance to get out and grill.
All right. Take it easy.
Cheers.